Gluing the styrofoam in place can be a messy job, particularly if we aren't prepared. So we've lined up some of the items we're going to need to reduce the amount of mess we're going to have. We won't get rid of all the mess, but we can certainly reduce it. The first thing we have is a putty knife. We're going to use that to spread the glue around the edges of our styrofoam. Then we've got a spray bottle that's filled with water. Our glue reacts very nicely with water, helps it to expand. Then we've got some masking tape and duct tape. We're going to use that to control where the glue is going to expand. More about that in a minute. A shop rag and a plastic dish that we have soaked in Varsol. We're going to need that to wipe some of the excess glue off of our hands. And then some paper towels to wipe off the excess glue that's going to foam out of the seam between the styrofoam and our module frame. And a garbage can so that we can get rid of those paper towels quickly. And then we've got two pieces of wood that we're going to set the styrofoam on as we spread the glue around the edges. And of course some polyurethane glue. Polyurethane glue is a cousin to the expandable foam insulation that you spray around window frames and outside the door frames to insulate your house or your basement. It's made by a number of glue manufacturers. There's LePage's, there's Elmer's glue. You might know it as Gorilla Glue. The nice feature about polyurethane glue is that it expands to fill the space where it's spread. In this case, we want the glue to expand and fill the gap between the module frame and our styrofoam deck. Now, first a word about the type of squeeze bottle that the glue comes in. This type of squeeze bottle takes a lot of squeezing to get the glue to come out of the bottle. We're going to end up with a cramp in our hand if we use this type of bottle, whereas this type of bottle is very easy to squeeze, so we'll be able to control the amount of glue that we want on our styrofoam. Polyurethane glue takes a bit of time to expand. This is going to give us some time to make sure that the glue sets up properly, because once the glue has hardened, there'll be a very tight bond between our module frame and our styrofoam deck. But first, let's take a walk through the process we're going to follow, because once we start spreading the glue, we're going to have to work quickly to put everything in place, and it's better to be prepared ahead of time. So one of the first things we're going to do is to take some of our duct tape, and we're just going to install it along the edge of our styrofoam. We're going to go all around the module frame to do this. And this is going to help us to control how the polyurethane glue expands. The glue is going to come bubbling up out of the seam along here, and you'll be able to wipe off the bead that forms while it's still soft, and end up with a nice looking underside of our module frame. So now that we've got the edges of our styrofoam lined with duct tape, that's on the underside of our module frame, we're going to do the same thing with the module frame itself. There it is. We're going to line the edges of the frame. You're going to take the duct tape and put it right close to where it will join up with our chunk of styrofoam. You don't have to be 100% accurate. We can get in there just a little bit approximate. And this is going to help us leave a nice clean underside. So we've now got the module frame and our styrofoam lined with duct tape. So now that we've got the duct tape lined on the underside of the module, we're going to take two pieces of duct tape. I've just folded one corner underneath, and we're going to put it along the edge of the module frame. And the reason for doing this is we're going to be putting glue along the edges, and we're going to need some place to set the piece of styrofoam that's going to be loaded with glue. If we set it down in the wrong place, it's going to be very, very messy. So we are going to use this duct tape to help us out. You'll see how that works in a few minutes. We've folded the edge under so that we can tear off that duct tape quickly. So this is what the underside of our styrofoam looks like after we have applied the masking tape to the undersides, and we have put our two pieces of wood on the ground, because that's where we're going to prop our styrofoam which is going to be full of sticky glue. That'll help to keep things under control. So let's spread some polyurethane glue. So now we're going to take our polyurethane glue and we're going to apply a bead of the glue right along the edge of the styrofoam from one end to the other. Now we don't need a lot because the glue expands quite substantially, and we're going to spread it so that every edge of that styrofoam is going to be coated in glue. Just spread it out one side to the other. Even now we can see that the glue is starting to nicely expand. We're going to take our time. Just remember that the styrofoam is now sticky, so we have to watch how we grab things. And we've got that edge is nicely gooped up. Okay, so now that we've got this edge gooped up, we're going to set the styrofoam down on our wooden blocks and spread a bead of polyurethane glue on this edge, and again spread it out from one side to the other. Just remember, the styrofoam is now sticky, so you've got to watch where we put our hands. I'm going to need a little bit more on this end. So now we're going to goop up this edge. Problem is, on the bottom we got some polyurethane glue, and this is where the duct tape on the edge of the modules come into play. And again, I'm going to put on a nice bead of glue. From one end to the other. And then we are going to spread that out. We're going to take our time here. That styrofoam wants to slide all over the place on that piece of duct tape, so we gotta be very careful. Sometimes the glue will drip over the edges, so we just scrape it up and use it all over again. That looks pretty good. So now we've got just one more edge to do. Again, we're gonna put the styrofoam on the blocks. Take our glue. And another nice bead of polyurethane glue. And spread it out. Need a little bit more there. It's better to put on more glue than to have to take it off, because we put on too much glue. There. All four edges have now got polyurethane glue in. So now we're going to take the styrofoam and we're going to install it into the module frame. Remember, we installed it on the top of the module frame. And there we go. And we push it into place. There. Nicely done. Now we've got some glue that came up when we pushed it in, so we are just going to wipe it off with our paper towels. We always want to have the paper towels handy. And there's where our garbage pail comes in handy. And we're just going to wipe it off. You can see how fast the glue has started to expand. The moisture in the air is expanding the glue. If it was a dry day, we would spray the module frame with our water. The glue reacts with moisture, and that's what expands it. Got some over here and some down here. There. And next we're going to take off the duct tape here. And there we go. The styrofoam is installed in the module frame. Next step, we're going to put duct tape all around the edges of the module frame to seal it off. So we're going to take our duct tape now, and we're going to seal the seam between the module frame and the styrofoam. duct tape is strong enough to seal that gap. So now that we've got the duct tape on all four sides, we are going to flip the module frame over, and you can see that the polyurethane glue is starting to come up between the seams, between the module frame and the styrofoam. So as it comes up, we're going to scrape it off, and we're going to babysit the module for about the next hour and a half until the glue nicely sets up. It's been about 5 or 10 minutes, and the glue has started to nicely expand, filling up that seam between the styrofoam and the module frame. As it comes up, we take our putty knife and we just scrape it off. And we just keep doing that until it starts to set up very nicely. So this is coming along very well. We're going to babysit it for the next hour or so and see what the result looks like. The polyurethane glue has nicely set up. It's still a bit soft, but it has finished expanding. So what we're going to do is, while the glue is still soft, we're going to peel off the masking tape. We're going to end up with a really nice looking finish on the underside of the module. Very professional looking. We can see that the glue has very nicely expanded into that seam between the styrofoam and the module frame. So it looks as if we've been successful. Now, we could have waited until the glue had dried completely, in which case removing the masking tape would have been a little bit more difficult. That's styrofoam, and the glue has been pretty much set up. And we have a very nice, clean looking finish on the underside of our module. We're going to let the glue dry for the next 24 hours. But first, before we do that, we got to get the duct tape off on the other side. Now that we have the masking tape removed from the underside of the module, we're going to remove the duct tape from the top side of the module and see what things look like. Yeah, it's peeling off nicely. We can see how the polyurethane glue has expanded nicely into that seam between the styrofoam and the module frame. styrofoam is nice and flush with the edges of the frame. So we're going to let this set overnight, and we're going to be on to our next steps tomorrow. It looks as if we've had a successful day.